before. So like obviously they're very different.
Hello. Oh, I got my glasses on. Hey, welcome. It's David R. Becker here tonight again. Thursday nights. We're having fun, right? So welcome to BeckerArt paint-alongs every Thursday night for all you newcomers. I do this every Thursday night, and we have a lot of fun. Hopefully, we have a lot of fun. And tonight we're painting a barn scene. A barn scene. I had a couple of requests, and I'm always looking for requests from everybody out there who's watching. If you want to have give a request, I'm not sure I can get to all of them, but if you have a request, it's great for me to see, and I can. And we had some requests for barns, and so tonight we're going to be doing the barn, and I want to thank those of you who have. Let's see, we did. They kind of came to my group. I have a group on Facebook now that you can get a part of, and what you do is you post your paintings that you do on this on my paint-alongs here, and we get some good people telling you what they think about them, and usually they're pretty nice, pretty nice. And if you have any questions and stuff about your painting that you did, just put them on there, and we answer. I answer sometimes. I don't have a lot of times to answer everything, but it's a good place to put these paintings when you're doing it. It's actually kind of fun to see what everybody does with these things, anyways. And so let's go to our supply list here. Let's see what our supplies are. This is for all you newcomers who want to see what I'm using. I use Holbein watercolors, and I use Holbein brushes, which have my name on them, which is really cool. You can get them on my website. I didn't use any transfer paper. That's just the transfer paper I use if I do trace a picture. And the paper I'm using is Stonehenge Aqua, and I didn't use any masking fluid on this one, but so we're not going to go there. And so, and then tonight we have my beer is just basically my favorite when I was going to college. So we're just drinking some Dos Equis tonight. So we're going Mexican here today. So, and this actually has a heavy opener. So cheers, everybody, for another Thursday night. Dos Equis, my favorite. Cheers, cheers, cheers. All right, so let's get to the value study. We got to show you a bunch of things here tonight because I asked about a couple of questions to all the people on my Facebook page, and showing them that the picture is very orange. For one, I know a lot of people said, well, they're going to change the color. Yes, I will definitely change the color. I had already painted it this afternoon, and so you can see how I changed it a little bit. But the big thing about the drawing is, about the design, is the drawing. So what did I change? If you look over here, there's a lot of tangents in this picture. Right here along the edge of the top of the barn, runs right along this edge of this barn. Always look for tangents. The first thing you want to do is look for tangents. This right here looks like the side of this barn runs right along the edge of this barn. And then right here, there's a point right where that edge of that thing points right to the edge of the other thing. So it lose dimension. You lose dimension when you don't overlap and you have a tangent. So tangents are bad. So the first thing I did was I moved this building, I moved it out. I moved it across this picture, or this building right here. And so this I moved out. See, I just moved it, and so I moved it out completely over this way, which overlaps the barn in back, and it overlaps this one in front. So again, gives you another dimension. And I noticed a couple of people were saying and they're going to take out the fences. Well, I'm not going to take out the fences. That's the best part about the whole painting is the fences. So don't think small when you're doing these, little things like fence posts, little lines and stuff like that are not going to be changing the whole picture on end of it. So what you want to do is think more big and broad, things that are happening that are wrong with it. There are also some horses back here way on the edge of the picture, and so I moved them into the picture a little bit. I put them right here. I'm the worst at drawing horses, so as you can see in this one this afternoon, it looks like a big dog. So, so maybe draw your horses better than I do because I'm not. That's one of those things I can't draw very well. And so, this is my values study, and the values are pretty much the barn and the trees in the background are all my darks, and my lights are the foreground and the background, and I'm having the sun, which is in the photograph, it's right here on the edge. I'm moving it in, which I know some people are going to say, well, how is this side of the barn then lit up? That's my prerogative. I can do whatever I want. So I'm going to make the sun here instead of over here because I just find it to be distracting to have it right here. I'm moving it in over to here, and there's still going to be light on this side of the barn. You know, it's not as bright as it probably should be, but hey, we're going to do that. All right. So here's what we're going to do. That's what, and anything else. And I also don't like what I did here with the fence. I'm going to keep the fence the same throughout. I know in the picture there's no, you can't even see the wire, but I'm just going to make it more or less a fence with posts all the way around it, across it and stuff. All right, and if you have questions, again, put them on the side on the chat, and I will look up every once in a while, and we'll go from there. And let me see who's all here tonight. Then let me just say hi to Joyce, Suze, Lynn, Carol, Linda, Barbara, Mill, Tina, Sonia, Linda, and Ginny are signing in. So you guys have been doing a great job. A lot of you I noticed are painting them, and so thanks a lot for doing that. I'm glad you like and enjoy it. And again, thank you all for the people who are donating a little bit to the cause and keeping it free. Thanks a lot so much. All right, so I know somebody last week wanted to ask me about showing the drawing a little bit closer. So here's the drawing that I did, and as you can see, right here, I kept the trees light. I erased that around because if I have the pencil line too dark here, it's going to be darker than the wash I put in. So these trees where the sun is going to be has to be light. They're going to be yellow-orange. So I'm going to make those yellow-orange, and so I got to erase that area. Rick is here too, and Maria's here. And so again, so somebody wanted to see the drawing. That's for my drawing, freehanded. And so I made all the changes and to the thing where I overlapped. See, I overlapped this because that was a tangent. I added some windows that are a little bit different, you know, stuff like that. Little things don't matter, like the window, changing the windows. That's not gonna make or break the painting. That's just a little bit of details and stuff. My horses are awful looking, but it's not gonna hurt the painting too much. So you just got to make sure that you know you draw the horses better than big dogs like I do. I'm just a terrible. That's one of those things I can't draw very well. I've got to go up to my cousin's ranch up in Canada one of these days and really sketch them up. And so let's see anything else about this. No, I think we're gonna get going here. We only got 20. You know how much time do we have left? So let's get going here. So again, let me show you the picture I did today in class. I had a class before this, and so we did it here. And the thing I didn't like as much as the colors. I mean, the colors are okay, but I want to keep the painting in an orange, yellow look to violets and reds. And on my screen, this doesn't look very orangey, but it's a lot more orange than it looks. And I think it's the screen. My screen is just way off. But what I'm gonna do is you can make the sky any color you like, but you have to pick a color scheme. So if you're going with orange, or I'm considering this a warmer reddish orange, so that I can go orange, red to green. Red and green are complements, and then I do have a lot of yellow in this, which I didn't put enough purple in this. So what I'm going to do and change, and this right here is not blue. On my monitor it shows blue. That's a dark green. So that just shows you my monitor is way off. So we're gonna go with the red, green, and yellow, violet kind of look in there. I'm not gonna do it as like a do-it tone where there's only like two tones or because right now the photograph is pretty much just yellow, orange, and red. So it's on one side of the color wheel. You have no cool colors in there whatsoever. You can do it that way, I don't mind, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to keep it and don't worry about the values. Again, the values are number one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet the whole surface on the top and just get going. And if you have questions again, we got Billy here, Sue, Jenny, and Maura. Hey, welcome. And so I'm going to go right through everything here and do the sky at first because that's the lightest. And I mean, you could even keep it white because it is very white. But if you keep it white, then these parts have to be really, really light also. So just figure out. Let me think. Should go through this. I'm trying to figure out if I should go through that that roof. Yeah, you can go through everything because this is going to be lightest. This is my lightest light, so go through everything. And so the reason I go through everything is because then I'll have some of this color into that area too. And right away I'm going to go down here, but I'm going to wait until I wet that because by the time I get there, it's going to be dry. So of course I'm going to switch my brushes after. Let me put in a little bit of wash. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow, very little bit of yellow, a little bit of orangey yellow, because I want to tone it down and make a tint. You know what a tint is? Remember I said what a tint was? With a lot of water, a little bit amount of pigment. And so I'm just going to go over here, leaving my brush away from this area. Never touch that. I would need to have that white. The sun, the brightest part of your painting has to be, if it's the sun in your picture, you've got to keep it white. You've got to keep it the white of the paper. Not even white painted on afterwards will do. You can't do that. You got to leave it the white of the paper, and everything else can go down from that. You know, once you have it down from that, that's fine. So I put a little orange in there, and again, this is going to dry 20% lighter. It looks really dark. No, it doesn't really. Boy, I gotta really fix my monitor. And so I'm gonna go through here, kind of come down, go through my barn. The barns are gonna be red, so you know a little bit of yellow orange is not gonna hurt it. And so I'm just gonna come through here. I'm kind of gonna bring it down a little bit darker up on top. And again, what I did the first time, I'm not gonna do the second time. And the first time, what I did is I made that too light, because I just didn't use it dark enough, and because it's going to dry 20% lighter, and that's the hardest thing for us artists to understand, is that you have to make it 20% darker. If you don't, you're going to end up with all your paintings being way too light. So I'm going this area around by the trees and the outer edge of the trees and using some pure yellow just on the edges, just so that it looks like the sun is coming right through here, right? And I'm just going to go through there on the edges here. All right, so I know that looks really light, and you're going to see it's going to get a lot lighter than that. And okay, so there we go. So that's the sky. Boom, done. Now let's take it down here a little bit more. I'm going to keep some light on the ground here by the horses or the big dogs. Cheers, everybody. Cheers to the big dogs. Boy, I love that. That was my college beer, Dos Equis. Went to college to the American Academy of Art in Chicago. And my second favorite beer was Berghoff beer, which is where the school was at, right on Adams and State at the time when I was going there. So down here, we're going to go and we're going to take a little bit of yellow. Millie asks, isn't there a trick to painting animals, the horses, like you do with the adding people? Yeah, there is kind of like a, what do you call it, a gesture. Like the gesture, you gesture people into your picture. But I didn't learn how to do horses yet. I got to figure that out. It's actually I do a dog. I do a blotch and then two carrot sticks, and then the head. But so now down here I'm gonna do like there's grasses, and so I'm just taking my flat brush and I'm going like this, because my flat brush, if you look at how sharp that thing is. That thing is like super razor sharp. And I had them make sure that they didn't cut the top off, because a lot of manufacturers cut the top of your 1.5 inch brush, 1.25 inch brush, and then you have a flat top. But I make it so that it's so sharp that you could cut yourself with this brush, and then also you can make great weeds. So look, all I got to do is tap vertically down, you know, up and down like this, and I can make great weeds with this brush. And then, of course, taking it across quickly gives you texture. And I'll take a little bit of the orange. And then we're going to do some spattering today. That's what I did in class. I had a lot of spattering. Go through your buildings a little bit, because we're going to do our buildings with a middle tone. So as soon as I get this done, I'm going right into my middle tones of my building. Which at the time in my class, I waited for it to dry, but we're not going to do that tonight. So here I'm going to take my little round brush, and I'm going to do a little flowers. There's a little bit of flowers and stuff that you see right there. See the little flowers? There's like a little bit of something happening there. So those are going to be spattered in by just taking my finger and hitting my brush against my finger and just going boom. Now it's getting everywhere. Look, it's getting all over there. Oh well, that's going to have to be birds. So maybe cover up with a paper towel if you don't want something going somewhere. But this is a barn. Let it be dirty. A nice dirty barn. Hey, Ann and Carol, Mill, Maura. I think I said you guys already. All right, so let me push that away a little bit. So sometimes you can just take your finger and just get a little of those dots away too. Keep it. Now also you can go like this and just draw in some flowers in this area. Well, they're like wildflowers. They're not like planet flowers. It's just, a nice flowery field on the farm. I didn't mow or anything, so just get in there. Look at this. I'm shaking my brush up and down. I'm just going like this. I'm going back and forth. Actually, you can't see my hand, can you? So I go like this. Let me show you your hand. So I'm just going like this, and I'm going up and down, making little weeds here. All right, so let's go into our middle tone of the buildings right now, because I need some color that's gonna be the middle tones, like the lights of the darks. So this barn right here, and go in there. How do you dull down an orange? Let me know. Blue, right? Because that's its complement. Carol, as I drank beer in college. Well, American Academy of Art, yeah, we drank a little beer since Berghoff's German bar was right there. So we'd go down there after class or after. So yeah, American Academy definitely drank a little bit of beer. All right, so we're gonna go in here with middle tones. And so I grayed down my orange a little bit with blue and orange, make it a little gray. I'm just gonna kind of go through here, go through the dark parts of the thing too, the rooftop. I'm keeping it a little bit away from the edge because it's gonna bleed up to the edge. And a lot of times the pencil work will even stop it a little bit if you have a little pencil work. So I'm going in with a little bit of middle tone and light. This is not my darks yet. Remember, this is not my dark. This is my light side of my barn. And of course, I'm going to float some yellow in there too, right? You don't just use one color. You never use one color. Anybody's been in my classes, you always put down the wash and then just go back and float some other colors in there. On the top here, I'm coloring right now. I'm giving the color of my my whole painting. And now I didn't put, like I said, I wanted to have some violet in this, so let's put some violet in now before I forget. Otherwise, now it's going to make the yellow gray. That's okay. Gray on a barn. Hey, that's going to be everywhere, basically. And so I'm just going to go through here. Let's see, anybody have questions? Isn't there a trick to... Okay, now I got that. Hey, Mary. Hey, Carol. And let's see. We're going to go through here. Let's get a little bit more red. A little bit darker red. Again, don't go too dark yet. We're not at our dark stage. We're at our middle light stage. Middle and lights. This is all going to be covered over. It's like you're painting the light so that when you put the darks, that will become the light. But it's nice to have those colors, already there. Side of that fence, the negative painting of the fence will be a little bit of the warm color. Maybe a little bit of shadowing on the ground here already, which is like more of a middle tone. It isn't too dark. I don't want to make it really super dark. Down the hill here a little bit. Maybe in the background, we're going to get... Now, the background right around this sun has to be really bright red and bright orange and yellows because that's the sun right there. It's blasting through there. Blasting. Happy little blasting. All right. A little bit of... Oh, another thing. I didn't put this big hill in the background. See the hill that's back there? As you can see, I went down a little bit lower. I felt that hard edge line flattens it. It doesn't make it look as far. You can put that in there, but I would put that in there when you're doing the sky, and I would make it soft edge. And so that you'd have right here, you'd have a yellow like it is in the photograph too. It'd be yellow and stuff right there. I decided to take it out completely. So that's, again, my prerogative. I can do whatever I want. So I'll put a little bit of the hill back in here. I'll put that in there just to kind of put it back in. And maybe I'll put it right here a little bit. All right. So that's that. And so there's my middle tones and lights. It's just, again, you got to start with the lights. You got to put the lights underneath so that when you put the darks on top of it, you don't have to go again and put later on put light colors in that spot, because then the dark will just bleed into that. All right, so there's my lights. Now let's get into our darks. So right away, I'm just going to start with the sun, and I'm just going to come forward. So I'm going to start drawing the trees. And the trees are green trees, right? They're pine trees, and pine trees are usually green, some sort of green. But the sun's right there. So to get that look in the photograph how they're yellow and orange, right? So that's what you're going to do. You're going to make those trees yellow and orange because the sun is just so strong, and it's going to light up those trees with a color that is more warm. And so I'm just going in here. I know this is kind of detailed, but that's okay. If you're not that detailed a painter and you just want to make a big, like a certain kind of technique for a certain kind of pine tree, people have certain ways of doing pine trees, do it. It's fine. Just make them really light right here. I'm just going to draw those in with a little bit of yellow orange. You notice I'm just using orange and yellow. I'm getting the edges. And as I go away from both sides, they're going to get darker and darker, and they're going to get to green. And people understand that. And you can do this for anything. You can always put a sun really right into your picture by just doing that, just making it different color, making it like it's burning. I just saw a picture, I forgot who the artist was this morning, and what a great shot he had of it was an oil painting, and he had just a really bright sunlight right behind his lady's head, and just put a white spot with a red, orange, yellow. Oh my gosh, this was gorgeous. Should have posted on there. Maybe if I have time for the end of this, I can show you that picture. And so as I'm going farther, see how I'm getting darker red? Now the edges of it, remember I put, when I first washed, I put the little yellow in there. So leave a little bit of yellow showing that you put in there in the first part. And so I'm just gonna thicken my pine trees, leave the right side on this side, the left side, a little bit lighter than the right side. And make some yellow branches on the left side and dark red on the right side. And then I'm going to also go around the house here, barn, I mean, not house. Now head into the, so what does orange and blue make? Brown, right? Orange and blue. And red and green also make a brown. So this is, I consider a red, and the tree is going to be green. That makes a brown. And complements either make brown or gray, depending on what they are. And so I'm going to use a green, so quinacridone gold, and a blue make a green. So I got a green here. So get my green, and with the orange, I'll make a brown. See, it's making a brown automatically. So I'm going from the orange to a brown, and then right to a green. Hope I'm not going too fast. I know a lot of people like to paint along, but don't try to rush it. Just hold on and just listen to what I'm saying, because it's more important that you listen to what I'm saying, and then later on you can do it again, because you can always go back into my videos and watch them again later. So try to, when I'm actually painting, it's good to listen a little bit more, because painting along and trying to keep up with my with my words a little bit tough. Now I'm gonna do that trick I did with the brush. If you go sideways like this, if I push down, I get these little branches. You can't see that, right, because it's like behind there. So I push down my brush in this fashion. And I get these little, I can't show you, I can't do a background. So I kind of push. So I'm pushing my brush, and it gives me these little branches that come out on the side. See, there's a little bit dark little branches. I do that by pushing like on the edge of my brush. I kind of push it and bend it at the same time. So you do a little bit of that. Anyways, I gotta get darker here. Gotta get darker, darker. Bob Ross, or who said darker, darker? That was Alexander. William Alexander, the guy, the painter before Bob Ross. I found out that Bob Ross was a student of, he took over William Alexander's position as the painter. So we go down here, and I'm just going to go into the greens. And you can also go inside there, once the wash is in there, remember, once it's wet, remember, you can float other colors in there. And if you watched one of my videos last week about how to control your watercolor, you can control it to make it look like branches and everything. You gotta learn how much pigment to use and how the branches look. All right, so we're going down here, maybe do another little tree right here. These can be pretty dark. And then maybe just whatever. And then, what did I do in the last one here? Lift this down a little bit. All right, so now let's go on this side. And this is going to take a little bit longer. I better hurry up here a little bit. Got to rush a little bit faster. Talking too much. Any questions? Did you say quin gold, blue, green? Yep, that's what I said. I don't have greens on my palette really. I make all my greens with quin gold, quinacridone gold, and any one of my blues. It's great for greens, and they look more natural that way. If you want a dark green, you use my Prussian blue and quinacridone gold. And then this area I'm going to wet as I go along. I didn't wet it beforehand. Like a lot of times I wet like the sky, I wet before. I do this as I go along. And then once it's wet, then I drop colors into it. I drop reds in there, and I drop all the colors in there. And there's gonna be soft edges on the inside, but I'm gonna leave a couple of spots available to see through the trees. That's what you gotta watch out for. And so let me wet this area now because I gotta wet it a little bit. And so just kind of dab a little bit of water in there. Watching out for going around the barns. Actually, I don't have to go around the barns over here because this barn is gonna be dark. So I'm just gonna go right into it. Just gonna go right into the barn. Anything you can pull together as one like value, and that's when you do that. You kind of go right in there and just pull those colors. Now this is all wet, and so we're gonna put some color in there. So I gotta get in here, make some green. And I also want to still get some orange on the edges because the sun is on, around this tree. This tree is not flat, so there's going to be some orange on the edges because it's behind the trees, right? The sun is behind the trees, so the edges can be a little bit orange. It's going to be from the back. It's coming through the back, and so, you can always start out with the light color here and then just get dark and put dark colors into it as you're going along. Now there's also branches or trunks of the trees going down. There I'm going to have to use a lot of paint, nice thick paint. I'll even use a black and a little bit of purple. And I will put these trunks in there with a lot of paint. I'm just going to dab my brush down here a little fast to get rid of the water, but then I'm using pure pigment and putting it into a wet wash and see how I get these little trunks of the trees. Because that's the way you get trunks and that's the way you control it. You have to use a lot more pigment. Thick amount of pigment, no water. You already have water down there. I already put it down. So then I go here with some of the trunks of the trees. And then of course I'm just going to take it and make it dark there too. Watch the edges. Oh, see what that was damp, and so that went right over my barns. Oh well. See what happens when you rush too fast? Which you guys are not going to do, right? Because I'm just going to take my paper towel here and just kind of rub it out. And actually take that all out because I don't want that to be dark right there and running. So it does make it lighter, but I can go back into that. I just need the shape of my roof to be right and nice and solid. Yeah, I mean, watercolor has its own mind sometimes, and it goes on. And in the water, if the water's too wet, you're gonna get runny, and you're gonna get, if it's damp, it's even gonna run. So just watch out for that. Here, we're gonna go down. And this dark in my value study, see the dark in the value study right there, up there, see in the back, it's dark. So follow your value study. That's why you do it. And if you don't make a value study, at least make a black and white of your photo so you know. This one, I suggest you do a value study so that you can see what you're going to be changing. That's what a value study is for, is to do all the changes and figure out what you want to change. Now that got a little bit too dark too quickly, so I'm just going to go in here, re-wet it, take it out a little bit, and then put some pure yellow and orange right on top there, let that float, and we're good. Somebody said that the sun popped right after I put in the added the darks. Yep, that's how it works. You do your lights, and then your darks will pop all the lighting. Without the darks, you don't get the light. You have to have the light in there, but the dark is what kind of gets you to look, to make it see what it is, the light shining and stuff. Oh, am I going fast enough here? Boy, I better hurry up. What time is it? It's almost 7. Okay, we got half an hour. We'll get it. So the reason I can always finish in an hour is because that's the way I used to work for 35 years as an illustrator. I would be working on time schedule, and if you had to get it done by a certain time, you got it done by that time. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You had to get it done. So I think that helped me out a lot when it came down to doing watercolors at a fast pace. And so you don't have to get it done at this pace, though. That's not a thing that you need to be. You don't need to be fast to do good watercolors. You got to be more of a craftsman and just get the things right that you put down. The drawing, and let's see if this is dry. Yep, dry. Let's go. So let's go right into our darks now. I got my middle tone, so go right in my darks. And maybe I'll start from the left, go to the right, so I don't put my hand into it. So I'll do the rooftop of this one over here, and what colors? I don't know, gray, browns, and the rooftop of this barn is just dark. And so I'm going down. I'm making it pretty thick at first with a lot of color in there, a lot of pigment, and then I can float other colors in there. Let's put a little bit of purple in there. It's in my edge here, so I want to take. Boy, this is kind of weird the way I'm holding my brush, but with the camera, I don't want to block it. So Oh, this is interesting painting. Okay, so here we go down. Now we go down the edge of the barn, come right into here, right into this. See how I'm making this all together. Somebody was asking me about this area, like what should I do there? Make it so you can't see because they couldn't see in the photo what was happening there. Well, if you can't see what's happening in the photo, it doesn't mean you have to make it look like what's happening there in a painting. So all I'm going to do here is just run this all together. I'm going to run it all together, make it nice and dark so you can't see what's happening there. So that's another way of doing it. Just don't let people know what's happening there. Just darken it up and let it all come together. And then I'm going to go into the red here. I know a lot of you are going to paint pieces. You don't paint pieces, you paint areas. You don't paint a barn roof and then paint the other barn roof and then the side wall. No, you paint the area. This is all dark area. Remember I said in the beginning how this is my dark area? And I worked with my lights first, then I go into my darks. And that was my light area. Remember I said that was my light area. The sides of the barns are the light area. I'll go back in there later on, and then I'll maybe negative paint a couple boards here. This will be dark boards, not dark boards, dark boards. And so we're going to go over here, and we're going to come down, and we're just going to get this dark here. This building, the side of the building is dark. See, now I'm taking the same color, bringing it in here. It doesn't matter what color the barn is. I mean, the barn's red, right? I mean, but it doesn't mean it's just going to be one color red. There's going to be a lot of factors in what that color is going to be. And here I've got to do a little bit of negative painting of the barn on the fence. So I'm just going to put this little lines here. So I'm negative painting the fence, which is going to be light. Then it switches to a dark fence and back to a light fence. So you just have to watch things like that. Now this big area, I hope it's dry by now. And this area, this is my center of interest, area of interest, I should say. This is my area of interest. So the horse, this building, this front, and this back where the sun is. That's all my area of interest. That's the first place you're going to look. And it doesn't have to be an object. It's just the whole area. And I'm going to go in here and get this barn dark. This is not my darkest dark yet, though. You got to remember that. This is not my darkest dark. There's going to be one more dark value that's going to be almost black that you use for your details. This is not my details. This is my big dark areas. So I'm going to come in here. And actually, look at this. I can actually make the horse a white horse if I go around it, and that'll maybe give it a better look than my last big dogs. So we're gonna go through here. Anybody who's ever taken my class know that I can't draw horses. It's just one of those things, and you gotta know your subject matter. And those legs and those horses, boy, they just go all directions. Excuse me. All right, this fence over here is going to be dark, and so now that's just one color. That's ugly, just one color. So you got to put other colors in there. You can't paint everything one color. And I'll put a little bit of violet in there. Let's put a little violet in there this time. Maybe where it's a little bit darker on this edge and make it go to a light. Maybe here too. Maybe I didn't add enough dark here. Here, maybe make it while it's wet. I'm going to give it a soft edge for the rooftop. There's going to be a door in there, and so don't worry about that. Now I gotta use my smaller brush. That's my big dark area, right? I mean, that's all my dark. If you look at my value study, that is my dark, except for the shadows in there. So that I'm gonna use my smaller 1/4 inch brush because why go with a flat brush when you're doing, or a round brush when you're doing a rectangular shape? You know, it's harder to do that when you're doing a rectangular shape. And what do I mean by rectangular shape? It's like this is just a rectangle right here at an angle. And so it's easier just to do one swipe like that and you got it done. Same thing with this right here underneath there, just a one swipe. Now if I had a round brush, I'd have to point it into that corner, then go around and do the edges. This is just one swipe and I can get the whole thing done. And a little bit of a shadow. And in the eaves of buildings, you can, in the eaves of a building, you can put orange. That was a trick that Irving Shapiro had taught me. You always put the little orange right in the eaves. Looks really cool, especially over here where there's already orange. It's going to put the little shadow there. And yes, I know the sun is over here. And how is this sign? Artistic license. I have a bunch of them from Dillman's. When you go up to Dillman's, you get an artistic license. So that's where I'm teaching this summer, this spring. What, isn't that a good segue? Teaching at Dillman's. So if you want to come up and paint with me at Dillman's, up in Lac du Flambeau, Wisconsin, I have a workshop there in June. And then I have another one there in fall. I don't remember what date. They just came out. I just actually got their got their pamphlet today, their brochure, their bulletin. Got today in the mail, so you probably got that too. So you can check out the dates, and it's always fun. And they're very conscious still with the COVID. And last year I had 2 of them there. Nobody caught COVID. It was all good. They had everything under control. Both times, spring and fall, we were up there. So again, I'm putting orange in the eaves just because it looks like it's lit up from underneath. So that's kind of cool. And so there's my buildings. Now the rooftop of this one, why didn't I do it with this one? Because it was wet. That's the only reason. This one I'm going to keep lighter because I like that it looks like the sky in the photograph. If you look at the photograph, there's white rooftop on that and a white sky. That kind of blends together really well. So I'm going to keep that one the way it is. And then the boards I'm going to do with the detail. But now we're into our darks. Now we're into our super darks. And that's mean the really strong darks. Like the windows, like the doors, like the fence posts. And this fence post back here would be less than the one, would be lighter than the one up here because this is closer, better to the center of interest. So I'm gonna go back there and make that one more orange-like. And so that's farther, looks like a farther distance, right? And fences and barns are, they're worn. Boy, don't have to be really perfect. There's a couple of artists that paint really clean barns. I don't paint clean barns. Mine are like used barns where they really use them up. I have little lines here. How to get texture in the light? Look at this. I'm just going to go take this and just flick my brush. Get a little texture in there, right? Look at that, little lines in there. Simple. And then when this dries, I can't do the door here because that's still wet. But once that dries, I can put the dark. So I'm just going for the parts that are dry. So that will get done by 7:30. And so here we're going to go with another big window there. I'm going to go with I was not going to make a door there. I'll just go with a door here. Or window. Let's go with a window there. Window here. This is probably still wet. Let's put a door here. Let's put a half door open, like it's open halfway. It's weird because a lot of people realize that I don't look at the photo. Once I'm kind of making it up as I go along. I already did this value pattern, so I know what the value pattern is. I don't have to look for details. You know what a door looks like. You know what a barn looks like. So you kind of go with your drawing, and so I don't have to really look up at the photograph to get. I'm not copying the photograph. I'm making something better than the photograph, hopefully. And so let's see if we got questions. I'm using, what brush was I using at that time? This is a 1/4" brush. This is a number 16 round brush. So this is a 1/4", 16 round, and my 1 1/4" brush I use for the big parts. So let's keep on going here. I'm going to put on my glasses so I can see my details. It's always good to put on glasses when you're doing your details, so you can see what you're doing. So real quickly, boom, boom, boom. There's a side. Oh, my horses. I got to do my horses, right? Okay, so these are going to be a little bit different because I'm going to use my small round number 8 brush for this. Because I got to draw them. I'm going to make them a little bit lighter this time on top because I did the value study where they were all dark, but this one I went around the horses a little bit here, so I'm going to make a shadow of them. And this is not a gesture so much. Well, it kind of is a gesture of the horses because they're not, for one, they're so small. But if you can do it really well and draw them up really well, now's the time. It's okay. This is my center of interest, so you can put them in there nicely and draw them in nicely. Maybe even trace them in there. Again, I kind of make them up, and look at the legs are just straight. They're just standing straight. And I know that the legs go back and forth like Z's. It's just unbelievable what the legs do. Now these are going to be straight on, so this one's straight on. And now it looks like a guy. Okay, maybe it's a guy next to a horse. Okay, let me think. I'll put a tail swinging on the side here so it doesn't look like I don't know, does it still look like a guy? Here we put 2 legs going down. It's either a guy or a horse, one of the two. And here we'll put the tail on. And so see how I negative painted that one, which I didn't do in the last one. And in my photo, in my value study up there, I didn't put, see up there, I didn't put the horse as the head being light, but that works. So, hey. it's improvising. Sometimes you got to improvise when you're working on your painting, and with watercolor especially. So here I'm going to go dark, negative, 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 so that the boards are light. Then over here, I'm going to go dark. I'm going to make the boards dark because they switch from light to dark. And see how they're light and then they switch to dark? That's because I'm going across light area, and so they're going to make them dark. And when they go to the over here, they should be light. Or you can do them all dark. That's fine too. Just make it darker than your background. You're good. And now this area over here, I don't want to touch that area. Why? Why would I want to touch this area and give it some notice? I don't want people to look over here. And so don't touch an area you want people to look at. Just get away from it. I could maybe do like a negative painting here of the boards and maybe make it a little bit darker. But watch out, no contrast over here. I don't want you to look over there. Look away from that area. Now we're going to do a little bit of line up here. Get the edge a little bit. This is all just detail. Details are fun because you start making things look like things. You know, it makes it look like boards and windows and such. And in the beginning, it's just neat, cool washes. And now the door open inwards. So then it looks like it's opening inwards. This has a little bit of shadow across it. Maybe we have the shadow of the horses coming across. Shadow here. I gotta hurry. What do I got? Oh, I got plenty of time. Oh, I gotta stop. Any questions? Any more questions? Let me think. Wow, that bright sun. What brush were you using? Either a horse or a guy. Love it. Do you ever use Payne's Gray? Yes, I do use Payne's Gray. Actually, no, I don't use Payne's Gray. I use this color right here. This color right there is neutral tint. I use neutral tint. Payne's Gray is more of a blue. Neutral tint is kind of nice dark. It's like a dark gray. And you can see right here, it's almost like a black, but it's kind of a brownish, gray. And so I use neutral tint instead of Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray is a little bit more blue and cool. But I do not have that on my palette, unfortunately. And so I actually use a little bit of this Payne's Gray. Look at that. I mean, of this neutral tint, it looks pretty good. Thanks for suggesting that. See, I got to read more of the questions. All right, and so I'm gonna put a little bit of warmth in this one because that's kind of gray. Then again, once you put any wash down, don't forget you can put color on top of it. You can float it. That's my big thing. Any newcomers here, that's my big thing, is floating your pigment, because you're putting down the water and then you have a chance to put some color and let it float in there, and it'll look so fresh. It'll look just super, super fresh. And so now I've got pretty much the background, and the horse looks okay. It doesn't have any shadow on it, so I'll have to go in there after it's dry and do a little bit more details. Let me take my rectangular brush again, my flat brush, because I'm going to do some of the rooftops with some, because these usually have like metal roofs, and they have like, I'm going to go upwards so I can just kind of wisp it a little bit. You notice how right here, I'm just going to put a little bit of yellow on the rooftop. And it looks like it's so bright, it's going right over that roof. And it's just so blinding, that sun. And it is. A sun is blinding. When you look at it, you cannot look into the sun. It's blinding enough that it shows nothing there. It's like invisible. And so make little lines there. All right, so that's either a guy, like I said, it's either a guy or a horse. So whichever one you want. You make it what you want. And we're going to put a little thing in there. So that's not too bad for the rooftop here. So it's just little lines. And I can even put even more lines in there. And down here, we'll go with a little bit of green reflecting from this into the rooftop. I'm going to keep it lighter though, because I want to keep it lighter than this roof, because I want it to kind of match the sky a little bit. But I do want to give it a little texture, like the texture at the top of the barn. Because it has those lines in it. Now this barn here has to have a lot more texture, and I want to kind of bleed it down the values. I don't want contrast over here. Again, I don't want you to look over here. Look away from the barn. So just make a little bit of lines there. The purple I worked in here a little bit, but I'm going to work the purple, I think, in some of these darks, like down here. And it's not going to be so much purple. It's going to be more lavender. And I'm gonna put lavender down here. And actually, I'm gonna show you how you can put some darks or lights on top of darks. Let me show you that. Most artists, teachers don't teach you how to do dark on top of light because that's like a no-no for watercolors, but not in my class. You can put anything you want. You put a couple lines across here, lines going down. Details are fun because you start looking like things and stuff. And so watch this. I'm going to put a little bit of water on top of this. This is already, dry. And so I'm putting water on top of that. I'm taking some lavender, which has a little bit of white in it. I'm just going to kind of let it float right on top. It has to float. It cannot be thick. It has to float on top to make it look nice and like it's fresh. I'm just gonna float a little bit of violet in there. Same thing with over here. I kind of like that. So I'm gonna put water down. When you put water down over anything, nothing happens. When it's already dry, it wets it again. And so nothing happens unless you're using a paper that's really cheap and it's pulling it back up. But usually if you just put a little bit of water there, you can float some other pigment right on top of it. Watch this. Look at that. You just put it right in there. Isn't that cool? And so I'll put a little bit in here. And it's not opaque in the fact that it's like thick. It's literally floating on top of the dark, but it looks like it's fresh and like it's floating on top of the white, which is since I did it there on each side of the building. Oh, that's still damp. Darn it. Oh well. So we'll have to fix that later. So we're gonna take a little bit of lavender, put it in there. And I was waiting for that to dry too because I gotta put that door in there. So I'll put a little bit of that in there. Now we got to put it in my shadowing here. So all the shadows in here are going to be my violet. So that since I have it up there, I got to bring it down here. And it doesn't matter what color your items are. You just do what you have to do. I don't care that this is a field or gravel. I mean, it could be gravel. And I know in the photograph, it's being engulfed with the sun. So everything does look really red. But that could be a filter on the guy's camera too. I mean, it could be, he warmed up the filter. On like all your photographic apps, you can make it either all red or So that's one of the things that can happen with photographers. They can make it look like a certain kind of way, and make it look all red or make it look all cool. Put a filter on it. And so I'm just gonna put purple down there, and then I will still put the other colors in there too. But there's a little bit of purple in there. And these are the reflections again. The sun, I know, is not over here; it's right there. Who cares? I'm gonna make it both ways. I got two suns on this planet, on the Becker planet. It's two suns. So, and I haven't even been drinking all day. I better take another swig. Boy, that Dos Equis is a good beer. Okay, so we're gonna go down here now and get our post in and our foreground done because this is almost done back there. And we only have, we still have like almost 15 minutes left. I better slow down. Let's see, any more questions? Okay, no, purple. I worked in the purple. I'm going to put a little post in. A lot of you are not going to put the post-ins, and I think you need it. I think you need the posts. It's, a barn has all kinds of junk laying all over the place. And so it's good to have the posts and all the stuff and the weeds and, don't be afraid of all that stuff. Just put it in. And now I'm going to spatter some more. But first let me go with my round brush and get some more weeds. And I'm going to, in this area, in my value study, I have weeds, but they're darker. So let's first start with a little violet and just some darks, like for shadowing. And this is good if you have a little bit of a twitch, a shakes. If you're older and you have shakes, that's good. And it's a good time for this. So look at this, I'm shaking. I'm so nervous. I'm like shaking. See that? Just going in there, pop it down. Now let's go back in with some of the colors for my dark areas. And people like to scrape. There's all kinds of ways of getting texture. You can use this. Look at this. I can use a ugly brush or maybe one of these brushes. These are kind of fun. So I'm just gonna kind of smush it in my hand so it's even worse. I'm just gonna dip it into here and dip it in a little water. Dip it in here and watch this. Oh, look at that, instant weeds. You can get a little texture by tapping it. Get a little weeds over here, get a little bit of yellow weeds. This is John Lovett gave me one of these. John Lovett from, I don't know, Australia or New Zealand, one of those two. But he had taught in my studio for the Main Street Gallery, which is in Liberty or in Lake Zurich. But he taught a workshop for Main Street, but he had to use my my studio, which I no longer have. But he gave me a great guy. If you ever see John Lovett's work, and he actually showed me how to use the Hake brush, the big wide one. I don't have it here with me at the moment, but he also puts white on things, and which is really cool. So another artist who uses white. So don't be afraid of white. A little bit of orange in there. Look at that. Oh, that's too much. Too much. What did I say about putting color in an area that you want to look, right? I want my eye to be in the center of interest, so that's a no-no right there. Get rid of that. There, we just wipe it out. And let's go back over with my regular brush. You can also scrape. Scraping is fun. Take the back of your fingernail, or your fingernail scrape, the back of your brush you can scrape. Sometimes you want to ruin the paper, you can do that with that. All right, and now I'm going to spatter again some more. I love spattering. Think about spattering with this brush. Oh, that's not. All right, wait a second here. I'm going to get too crazy with this. Let's go with this brush, the 1/2-inch brush. So the 1/2-inch brush, because I'm noticing I'm looking at my, and I'm not getting the negative painting as much as I like up here. So I'm going to go in to the grasses up here and negative paint the darks and the grasses by negative painting them here. Right underneath the fence, there's a little bit of dark through here. And then you're negative painting, not you're making this dark, but you're negative painting the grasses in front that are light. And then these are positive dark, these are dark weeds that are just positive, but down here, those are negative. See how it goes negative, because then you're using the light of the paper. And you also can go get texture by going across the paper quickly. Which over here looks like it needs some of that. I mean, a farm is not cleaned up. They didn't, you know, do the lawn on there. Oh, some are, but not this one. All right, so let's get the little rigger brush now for the little things. The rigger brush is the long, slender one, and that's good for like barbed wire or just a fence. So I'm going to take that, use a lot of paint, but a lot of water in your brush, and then one brush stroke. Try to go one, don't go slow, just go whoop, done. And then you can put a little barbed wire in there, another one, shoot, little downwards motion here. Here we go again. Now I know a lot of this is still wet, but oh well. That'll be okay, because then you don't have to make everything so perfect. Some of it will be soft edged, right? Look at that. And going here a little bit. This could maybe come out of the page. Maybe I don't like that. Make it dark again. My teacher, Irving Shapiro, did a lot of barns. He was one of those painters of barns. He did some amazing barns. He also did the amazing waterfalls. That was Irving Shapiro. If you were anywhere in Chicago, I just was talking about that in class. If you were in Chicago and a watercolorist, you pretty much painted like Irving Shapiro. He was probably one of the best watercolorists at the time in Chicago. Just amazing teacher also. A little purple in there. Gonna rub it with my finger a little bit, because again, I don't want my view to go over here as much as I think I want it to be. Now my horse looks like he's an albino horse, so we gotta give him a little shadowing. Because he's center of interest, so I gotta give him a little bit of something. So a little bit of darkness on the front here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna go out here. I think there's a muscle right there. Yeah, there's a muscle. And then we got the back legs a little bit darker. Oh, the hair. I can put a little hair on the side. So there we go. It looks like now it's like a lion. No, that's okay. Negative painting. Carol wants to know about negative painting. Negative painting is painting around a shape. So let's see. Negative painting is, see this barn right here? Why do you see the top of this barn? Because it's negative painted. The dark behind it creates the shape of this barn roof. There's nothing, I didn't do any positive painting on this roof. It was this roof was created by all the things around it. So that's negative painting. You're painting around something to create the object. The top of this horse is negative painted because it's around the light of it. This is a positive stroke because that's a dark stroke on top of a light. Anytime you go around the dark, like here, this is dark now, so I put it dark in, so I negative painted that roof. That's what negative painting is. And there's some artists that are like a Linda Kemp who are masters at it, and they're also masters at teaching it. It's a tough thing to teach because it's so complicated sometimes. Here, want to check out Linda Kemp. I think it's her website, even lindakemp.com, and check out her negative painting. And now she's also doing an acrylic, and it's kind of still negative painting, but it's done in acrylic. She does a lot of acrylic paintings too now. So now I'm just going to get a window over here, a couple little more details, and I think we're almost done. Anybody see anything that you're not liking? Oh, I think some of these, I got rid of some of. I just noticed I looked on the screen, and I'm not noticing any of the darks in the tree trunks anymore. They all went away. So I'm gonna put a few more of those in there again. Now I'm gonna mess them up with my finger a little bit. See, I'm just gonna kind of go in there and mess them up a little bit. Also give them branches. Mess it up a little bit. Maybe this one can have a bit of messed upness, messy upness. All right. Oh, the door, the main door, the big door, the one that's so most important. This door right here. So first time I put it, way too much water. Darn, it's still damp, I think. I only got 5 minutes. I gotta get this done. So let's see. We're gonna go across here, make a line. That's gonna be there. And the door comes like across this because I don't want to make it line up with that side of the edge. No tangents. Go around on the side, and you can even leave a window in the back or a crack in the area. And then we're gonna put a dark fence in front of this too. Watch this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. Isn't that nice? So another juxtaposition thing that happens. And so here's a little sliding door that opens up, and those doors usually have big Z's on them. And then I'm going to go around this guy / horse, which we don't know yet what he is. Either a guy or a horse, one of the two. And let's see, I think that's going to be almost, wait, this line here a little bit darker. Lynn says, compost, do I use compost green? Compose green, I mean, not compost. Compose green, yes. I didn't use it on this one though. This one I mixed up my, I think I put lavender in there. That made it kind of light. I could have used a little bit darker trees, I think, back there, but I'm not sure. Maybe a little bit darker right here. Make it maybe a little bit darker right there. And now I'm just stalling. Let's see if I can get this thing done here. There's a dark tree. No, I don't want a dark tree. I want it just to be the dark background in there. Okay. A little bit more texture in here in this burn. Not too much. Okay, I think that's it. All right, let's take the tape off and I'll show it to you. And it's always the tough part is taking the tape off. I'm getting some more tape in the soft tape. I'm going to do a little video on the soft tape. This is not the soft tape. I ran out of the soft tape. It's a really cool tape that Holbein makes that now you can actually use it as a masking area. So if you want to mask something that's bigger, it's great for masking. And so I'm just going to turn this around. And so there's a little bit more purple in this one, and so I think all the second ones usually turn out better than the first ones. The first one could be you could do it like a value study more or less. If you ever want to do it twice, just don't do it really big. Do a smaller version of it, like a little postcard size to get your colors that you may want to use for the painting. And so let's see what we got here. There we go. And so that's the one from today. This is the one from this afternoon. Just a little bit different, a little different style. This one's a little bit grayer, a little bit not as vibrant. So just two different things. Again, you guys are going to be all doing the same different things too. So it's going to be kind of cool. So this is this week, and next week again. I don't know what we're painting next week until somebody tells me something. I think a couple of people had asked for a couple other things. Some rim lighting, I think, or backlighting, which is kind of backlighting, but we'll see what we have. But again, if you want to give me some suggestions, that's great. And let me go over here so I can see you guys. And so thanks again, guys, for coming. And again, any questions, put them up there. Sign up for my newsletter on my website and do all that stuff and have fun painting this one. And either put a guy or a horse in there, it doesn't matter. And so cheers for another week, another Thursday, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, guys. We'll see you later.